Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Leader Lounge talk with Dave Hanson, one of the creators and founders of Hanson Robotics. But you're going to talk today in your role as one of the co-founders of Gaia, I believe. Yes?
Yes.
And for those people who still do not know who David is, David was here at the very first AI for Good Summit in 2017, when we just had 400 people. And you brought along Sophia, when Sophia was just a talking head. But Sophia, that event became the Kim Kardashian of the event. So many people wanted to take a selfie with Kardashian. But over the years, Sophia has been used as a platform, a living lab, which is a contradiction in terms when you talk about robots, but a living lab to learn how robots can help, I would say, introduce empathy and align robots with human behavior. And you're going to take us through that talk today, what you've learned from the Living Lab over the last 5 years. So David, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Yes, it's been a real adventure coming to AI for Good and exploring how robots can help people. So humanistic AI is really our goal, to make AI that reflects the human experience. There are many kinds of AI out there. It doesn't have to be human-like. There's some kinds of AI and robotics that can be human-inspired. So you may not need human-like AI or cognitive system or robot to process like waste management in a city infrastructure, for example, or to just control the smart heating and cooling system in a building, or to do welding on cars and factories. But there are certain applications that can be quite useful. So, for example, having a human-like social presence can be useful in therapeutic applications. We found, and other people have found, you also can use them in works of art and education. Anything where you need to engage and communicate with people in a very natural way, the human-like form can be quite useful. It can also be useful to emulate human cognitive systems, to make machines that are smarter and learn in more human-like ways, with people and among people. So AI today that is less human-like won't do things that humans can do. So this can be quite useful for engaging with people, but also to perform new kinds of science on cognitive systems that are inspired by the human nervous system, and you simulate that in your robots. So you can explore that scientifically. Bio-inspired engineering, you can explore new kinds of engineering, but also the fundamental biosciences, the science of mind, and embodied AI minds. You can also explore new kinds of human experiences through the figurative arts, which bring great value to our lives. Don't forget the value of the humanities in our lives. And the fusion of our technologies with humanities have given us cinema and give us new forms of art. And there's so many opportunities for powerful human experiences that can make our lives better. And these kinds of techniques can go outside the world of the arts and deliver better therapy. Art therapy is a real thing, but this kind of takes it to another level. So embodied AI combines a lot of these concepts into one kind of platform, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about this. But in summary, to begin with, humanistic AI, the greater humanities, combined together in this integrative way, I think can lead to a better future. And that's a little bit of what I'm going to talk about today. So first, I'd like you to know, many of you may be aware, but perhaps some aren't. Sophia is not the first robot I made. We brought her online in 2014. 2015. Actually, in 2016 was the first time that we showed her. But she is the beneficiary of more than 20 years of development before that. I made my first humanoid robot in 1993. So I was taking AI programming courses and building robots, and won a robot award during that time. And then I worked for Disney Imagineering, and then I started work on my PhD. And all the robots that you see here are after I started work on my PhD in 2003, but one of them is from 2002. So almost all of the robots here, a few are after Sophia, using the Sophia platform, but like the Bina 48 and the Albert Einstein walking robot that you see there was 2005, the Philip K. Dick android portrait, Diego-san, the Latin American robot, the Persian Ibn Sina robot. It's a wide diversity of robots that I developed and also collaborated on with many researchers. And these have served in research labs all around the world, serving cognitive science research, autism therapy research that resulted in many published papers and great uses. And so it's a diversity of robots made by a diversity of teammates. And so we have on our team about 50% women, and we have people from all over the world. People from the US, people from Asia, people from South America, people from Europe, people from Africa. So we've collaborated with and had on our team a great diversity of people, but also a diversity of background. It's not just engineers and AI scientists and physicists and mathematicians who are great on our team and in our collaborative network, and neuroscientists, but it is also artists, designers, product managers, people with career expertise in how these kinds of technologies can serve people in a way that is sustainable economically, as well as serving people's needs. And in this process, I have been working to then consolidate all of the learning from those previous robots into a standardized research platform and development and general AI platform that we call the Sophia Utility Platform. This was the vision that became Sophia. I also wanted to make her into a work of art, a kind of persona that we would then turn into true living sentient AI, which I think will happen eventually. But we've done these great experiments in this along the way. This, as a platform, has a lot of capabilities. You'll see, actually, we have legs here now. We have self-navigating mobility that we have deployed in various settings. It's a lot of stuff in addition to the social intelligence and AI and SDK. And we've open sourced and released a lot of this stuff open source. And this is one example, Open Arms, an AI robot platform. And here's another one that we call Project Twinkle Toes that you're seeing here for the first time. We're showing it for the first time ever here at the AI for Good Summit. So, so this, here's Dan LaFaro. Professor Dan LaFaro is a great collaborator of mine, a good friend, who has made this real-time force feedback control loop system. So these are compliant-legged locomotion. I'll show you some other robots, walking robots that he's worked on. And so we've had Sophia walking before. And here, this all goes into one cognitive AI toolkit that includes the kind of mechanical controls. Here's Sophia walking using the DARPA Robotics Challenge Search and Rescue, Hubo robot, and Dan LaFaro that you just saw was part of that team. But the new legs are the next generation that are more human-like and more capable. Then grasping and manipulation in the toolkit, verbal intelligence, a sort of model of theory of mind for being able to do graph models of social relationships, for example, a neurosymbolic hybrid. So you've got the neural aspects, and you've also got these symbolic AI that's explicable, transparent, etc. Musical intelligence, and we've done these artistic intelligence experiments, all within this framework, all open source. Open framework for people to learn about AI, experiment, use in their own way, use for their research. There have been dozens of PhD dissertations using the robots that we made through the years. They've been serving in education and serving in this research. And I think this idea of putting all of this in an integrative platform for integrative intelligence then adds these pieces together, not just stuff that comes from my group, but from the world. The idea of spanning all these different disparate areas of research and facilitating additional waves of creative direction, not a unified direction necessarily, but it overall adds up to some massive improvements. That's the vision. And these robots have been deployed in educational applications, like I mentioned, and also healthcare applications. They've gone out to autism treatment centers and actually helped now thousands of kids who have autism learn social skills. And I'm really proud of that. And also resulted in many published studies on that. And of course, in the arts and outreach to inspire kids. I've had kids who've come and applied and come to work for me, and they said that they saw, even when they were in secondary school or primary school, they saw some of our robots in the news and were inspired to pursue that direction, got engineering degrees, and then they came to work, and it was really inspiring. And I like to think that this has made a positive difference because of the inspiring outreach of bringing robots to things like AI for good. So thank you for the opportunity to hopefully inspire some kids. This has also served machine consciousness research. Here's an example of what some of the psychologists on our team, along with some mathematicians, did to model one of the leading theories of consciousness, the integrated information theory of consciousness from Giulio Tononi, which is a pretty decent model, although Christoph Koch and Chalmers just had this thing. It establishes some of the recent research showing it's not complete, but in any case, you can measure consciousness using Tononi's phi, and we did that. We created an automated algorithm that would listen to the signals in the interaction as Sophia was learning using the OpenCog Singularity Net framework, and analyzed whether there was consciousness in that system. And sure enough, there was spiking phi values when interesting things were happening, when she was having to negotiate with people doing this guided meditation exercise. And we published this paper at the Symposium for Machine Consciousness with the Association for the Advancement of Artificial Intelligence. And we have upgraded the algorithms. Matthew Ickley, the chief mathematician on this project, updated the algorithms, and we're running it with some of the latest AI software. So these are just experiments in machine consciousness. It's provocative to think that maybe machines could be conscious, but just to be clear, they're not conscious at a human level. That is our quest. It is a ongoing quest to try to create machines that can really understand the world and understand the human experience. It is not solved yet, not with ChatGPT or GPT-4 or any other model, but we are able to take these algorithms and hardware and turn them into very interesting and useful applications. Mika, for example, was commissioned by this art house spirits company called Dictador. They're in Colombia and Poland, really neat people sponsoring artists, street artists, to produce these amazing products. And they wanted a CEO, so they commissioned us to create this Mika version of Sophia. This is using the Sophia utility platform. And Mika is here. I hope that you'll go talk with her at our booth. Again, a diversified set. There are many faces for the Sophia robot. So that includes the Sophia, which also, here's the another healthcare thing with my guided meditation. The deployment of this in healthcare through the Grace robot, through Awakening Health, which is actually also the Sophia utility platform. Again, the faces can change out into Grace or Desdemona or what have you, which are also our robots here. And we also have small versions that have helped in elder care. And we also have these autism studies that have been really great. But all of those robots are actually, honestly, quite expensive because hardware is hard. And you put in all these servo motors and actuators and sensors, and it costs money. And they're a pain to build, really. I mean, we've been able to scale the manufacturing and everything is good on that, but they still cost good money. So we created a robotic simulation, a virtual Sophia that is an accurate robotic simulation, and you can program it with the AI toolkit. You click and you go through the repos, you have AI programming projects, and it turns it into an entertaining way of learning about AI, and we made it all open source. This is called Sophia's AI Lab with the Sophiaverse, and we're just launching this as this big open source project that we hope will then allow kids all around the world, and adults too, to take on these AI challenges in a global decentralized network where everybody is sharing and contributing together. Gamifying AI makes AI accessible. If you can deliver this powerful experience and you get something like a success like Minecraft or Roblox or what have you, then you're not forcing it down into kids who may or may reject it because it's hard to learn the math or whatever. Instead, you gamify it, and they're seeking the next reward. And thereby, you can get people into the challenges to address the sustainable development goals. You can have partnerships that emerge and use these tools to get people. You're basically activating the global mind to address these big problems. And this is just one thing. This is what we've been striving towards as we're going out and meeting with people. But this can address the number 4, quality education. 5, gender equality, because of the representation. Having so many, the majority of developers on our team for Sophia have been women throughout the whole project. And we find that having that representation, having women present Sophia, having this female identity that they developed on our team, inspires girls and young women to get involved. This can also then give them opportunities for good jobs, economic growth, innovation and infrastructure. We're talking about addressing so many of these UN Sustainable Development Goals. And also, moreover, the smarter the AI gets, the better that humans and AI together can address the other problems. Poverty, energy, environment, all of these things need smarter, more creative solutions in order to catch up on what these goals are. AI can make a difference, but we have to do it cooperatively. So this is a big part of this. And if you look at how AI has been historically considered to represent the goals, some of these things are really not addressed by AI yet. So we've got to jump in. So this creative diversification of AI and robotics versus the mere regulation of AI and robotics, I think it's so important to look at how to get creative, how to activate the human mind, and how to activate the human potential. So instead of just making this also a Hanson Robotics and Sophiaverse project, I thought with my friends and a broad community that we would be able to establish a kind of alliance for this. And we named it the Global Artificial Intelligence Alliance, or Gaia for short. How can we as a whole planet activate the human potential to create a decentralized AI commons for addressing inclusive, maximally creative AI that activates our compassion, engages us to want to solve these world challenges. And so we actually have from Dictador that created Mika, they're putting up a 200,000 euro a global AI for good prize. And now we're announcing this for the first time at this conference. So I hope that some of the people in the audience and some of the kids that we're announcing this to will put in and win these awards, and that will help to propel AI for good. So thank you so much.
Wow. David, I want to thank you so much, first of all, to explain, well deserved, to explain why we need humanoid robots. That's very pleasing. And I really want to thank you for sharing your passion and your vision, how we're going to get there. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I hope that some people will come and talk with me. And we probably have some people who are coming up, but if we have time, I would love to hear questions. And if can we take another, like 1 or 2 questions? Do we have time for that?
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions or comments? Any concerns?
Oh, there's someone in the back. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the mic, walk there.
Oh, thank you.
I can actually look around with it.
Okay. Even better. Okay, we're going to get...
Hey, David.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask one question. Do you feel, it might be a little bit abstract or futuristic, but how do you feel about in the future?
No.
You being a father, you transfer your consciousness to David bot, and then your bot, for example, is your legacy that you provide to your children, and when you're gone, they kind of stay and continue your legacy. Is it something that you would imagine to be an element of, building that consciousness of AI?
Yeah,
David, before you
that's
ask the
very
question,
interesting.
could you give me a little bit of context, so what your background is, so we know from what context you're asking the question?
Oh, well, I'm actually running an organization that does create digital technology for nonprofits to scale up their impact, but this is a little bit on the side now.
Thank you. Excellent. And good luck with your work on that too. Yeah. And so I think that the human consciousness is what it is a big question. We don't know how to transfer consciousness. We don't know what consciousness is. The neural correlates of consciousness or neuronal correlates of consciousness, NCCs, are a hot area of study but unresolved. And so consciousness science is a very exciting field. And it is there's a prospect, and it's been long proposed, of mind uploading and creating machines with consciousness that can like pick up where our biological entity leaves off. Don't know when that will happen, but it's a worthy quest, I think. Because if we can understand that, then we know ourselves, and anything that can impact our consciousness, like neural diseases that may undermine our consciousness and the quality of our experiences, we might be able to medically address that if we understand what's going on with consciousness. So it doesn't hurt us to understand, and if we can create conscious machines on that basis, then maybe you can then transfer the information from our conscious being into that. And I worked on some projects like the Bina 48 project that I showed you, the African-American woman robot, was part of the Terrorism Movement Foundation with U.S. billionaire Martine Rothblatt. And so they are like creating what they call mind files, and we helped develop that using the AI software at that stage, and they've continued that forward. So Martine Rothblatt, who is a PhD medical ethicist, thinks that you could, with today's digital technologies, upload the human mind. I'm not sure, but we'll see. I think it's, again, a very promising thing. But even if the consciousness isn't fully uploaded, the remnants, cultural artifacts of the consciousness, the information artifacts of the human language, in a sense, is a kind of artificial intelligence invented through the years and emergent to some extent. It's not like running on computers per se, but the fact is that we will use phrases that people said hundreds or thousands of years ago, and the thoughts in those are transferred. So in a sense, language itself is transferring consciousness and keeping pieces of consciousness alive, and the computing technology we have enhances that. And the technologies we have, like these large GPT transformer models, in a sense, mine the human collective unconscious for ideas that nobody ever said, or has consciously said before, but were latent in that information space. So in a sense, it is an acceleration of the human consciousness, the collective consciousness. It is it's a consciousness prosthesis. It is not entirely conscious on its own, the same way that a book isn't, even if it has those quotes from those great thinkers. It requires the medium of the human mind to fully activate it. So if we think of this kind of symbiosis between our AI and humanity, it makes a bigger superorganism than humanity alone. But the AI can't exist on its own yet. So again, there's a lot of future research to address that big question. Thank you.
Okay. Allow me to look at the organization. How much time do we have left? Okay. Yeah, we're 6 minutes over.
Let's give it 2 more minutes.
2 more minutes. Okay, we got one more question there.
David, it's Gillian Hine from Ernst & Young, EY. Just curious on the Gaia, the alliance. Could one of the purposes be around public and private sector collaboration to use AI to accelerate towards the SDGs? Is that some of the focus?
Absolutely. And moreover, we're still organizing, and anybody who's interested, come and join us, because right after this, we're doing a workshop, and some of the people in the back of the room actually are joining for that workshop. And we sort of run over now into the time that we set aside for the workshop. So if you're interested, join us.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's 30 seconds ahead of time you gave us. So
Thank you, everyone.
Again, David, thank you so much for sharing your insights.